If you have something that you love, a favorite band, you can see a little bit of John Coltrane and Miles Davis right above my big head. If you have a book series, if you have a TV series, any work of art, let's call it that, any work of art, a video game series. If you guys really know me, you know I used to be a video game guy. Shout out to Playboy as well as Electronic Gaming Monthly. Um, you know, there's times when the parlance now is when things jump the shark, when things are done. It's when things are over. And you have your favorite book series, and it's perfect until it gets to the last book and everything falls apart. But only if they stopped just a book ahead. That movie or that TV program, that the first hour was fantastic. In the last 15 minutes, it doesn't work. If only they ended sooner. We deal with that all the time. The challenge, as I talk about in the newsletter, is that no one's going to tell us when it's over. No one's going to tap you on the back and be like, "All right, time to hang it up, champ." I wish I had a, um, a football helmet. Time to hang it up. Take that jersey off. Time to hang it out. Shout out to my basketball fans. You know what I'm talking about. Time to hang up the jersey. It's you're good. That number's getting retired, hopefully. No one's going to do that because when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to being a side hustler, when it comes to being a solopreneur, cases where you don't have another founder, it's just you and maybe some employees. That's it. No one, unless you have good mentorship, and even that has its limitations. Even if you have a coach like myself, I coach hundreds of y'all. Even I have limitations. Only you know when it's time to hang it up. You know when it's time to exit. The newsletter today and the conversation today with this episode is about finding the emotional intelligence to know when to hang it up. And the second part is to make sure you have the system in place so you can hang it up, that you actually have the system in place to quit. That's the whole thing. You could say, yeah, I'm done. Your bank account might be saying, are you though? Your customers might be like, you need to do a little bit more. Your life path might be like, hey, you haven't fulfilled your goal. You you might be done, but the path, the future is not done with you. So you have to have the confidence and the awareness to let it go. Because the opposite is true as well. When the path is done, when the battle is won, I promise I'm not going to rhyme. But when it gets into those situations, we have to say goodbye to our darlings. Doing a kind version of what 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 all of us have learned. If you're in any type of writing class, you know what I'm trying to say. You have to let go of your darlings. You have to let go of your favorites. You have to bid them adieu with peace. Because if you end up staying in a business, whether you're an entrepreneur working within a system, or you're an entrepreneur like myself, where you're doing things independently, you staying in a system or staying in a business that you shouldn't be in anymore, and you're doing it for the paycheck, just the paycheck, nothing wrong with paychecks, but you're doing it just for the paycheck, you're doing it just because your ego doesn't have another identity. You can't see yourself as a founder anymore. You can't see yourself and you think you have no worth because you don't have the title anymore. What kind of service is that given to the world? How do you think you're going to serve your customers? How do you think the people that you're serving, your communities, you think they're not going to see that? That you're not going to feel it? I'm really into food. And so when I'm traveling with my family or with my friends or solo travel all the time, I know that the best way to understand culture is through the food. And there's so many things where I'll hear a review or I'll ask a local recommendations for food, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, go to this place." Wait, no, don't don't go there. That's right. They were hidden. They were amazing about a year ago, up until about a year ago. And a year ago, it's not hidden like it used to. They're not given the portions they used to. It's just not the same vibe. Have you heard that before? How do we get there? We get there because the founder, the creator, the leader, their heart is not in it anymore. Whatever they're trying to serve, the customer doesn't want it anymore. And first, it begins as word of mouth, and then it eventually becomes their legacy, to be frank. As we're talking right now, there's folks right now whose legacy is being torn to shreds. Your legacy, your impact on your customers is not forever, unless you know when to get out of the game, when to stop, when to exit the business. I used to be a full time journalist, full time freelancer. So if you Google my name, you'll see my name all over with newspapers and magazines, some of them that don't exist anymore. Rest in peace to them. We had fun while it lasted. And I knew probably about, probably right before my second son was born, so about 9, 10 years ago, that what I'm doing now with y'all was what I was supposed to be doing. I saw it, I felt it. I couldn't see all the details, but I knew that me being a full-time freelance journalist, after doing it for umpteen years, getting 2 degrees in journalism, it wasn't quite my path anymore. I had fulfilled what I was supposed to fulfill. If I kept going on that path, it would be disservice to the places and publications that I wrote for, excuse me, and doing it full time because my heart wasn't in it. And it would also be a disservice to myself because if I didn't let go of journalism a little bit, still do freelancing. Shout out to Inc. Magazine. Shout out to, you'll catch me in Costco Magazine. I have a semi regular column in there. You can catch me all over the place, but that's not how I make my main living. If I hadn't let that go, if I didn't exit that business in a proverbial or in some cases a literal sense, then there would be no Bring Your Worth books. There would be, this wouldn't exist because I'd be busy doing something else. I wouldn't be talking to y'all. This is episode 428 right now. We wouldn't be hanging out because I would be on some path that, frankly, it ended years ago, but I'd be too stubborn to stick to it. You have to know when to exit the business. Definitely go and read the newsletter.